Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday, March 28th, 2023, here at precisealgorithmtrading.com. Thought I'd mix it up a little bit tonight. We're going to start with stockcharts.com. This is our daily review, by the way. And we'll just take a look at the overall markets, and then we'll look at how our automatic trading system worked for today. And yeah, we'll go from there. So you go to stockcharts.com. They've got different types of charts that you can pull up, but if you just go in here and type in bullish, or you can type in any symbol that you want, but for our purposes, we're typing in bullish, and these are the bullish percent indexes that pop up to the top, which is nice. And then these little X's and O's over here, that's the point and figure chart that we like to use. And you can use a regular chart as well, but I get more out of the bullish percent index charts. So here is the bullish percent index of the actual Dow Jones Industrials, and it went up by 9% today, tacked on 2 green X's. I haven't looked at these today, so I'm doing this right along with you. That's pretty bullish, but it's only 30 stocks. There's the Dow 30, so that's all that's in there. The NYA is probably the biggest one. The most stocks, I don't even know what the number is. I've heard anywhere between 7,000 and 11,000. It went up by 3.78% today. So this is all in the face of the market was sideways to down today. So these are the internals, and kind of it's a measure of buying versus selling, which is really what it is. So the amount of stocks that are on a point and figure buy signal in the index. So here's the NASDAQ, and 33.88% of the stocks in the NASDAQ are on a point and figure buy signal, so the inverse of that is 67% is, or thereabouts, are on a sell signal. And so you can do with what you want, but what you can read into that is there's more on sell signals than there are on buy signals. And typically when that gets way overweighted, the other side takes control, because the markets are counterintuitive. It's not easy, and it's not what it goes in the direction of where most of the money isn't. So that was the NASDAQ. The S&P is probably the one. Everybody follows the S&P 500, the market tiers. It's kind of the one that says that's what the market is doing. It went up by 7%, 7.32% today, and it's on a column of X's already, so that's interesting. And then the two that are most volatile are the NASDAQ 100, which flipped over to a column of O's yesterday and went nowhere today. And then the S&P 100, which went nowhere today as well. So, all right, that's that. And then look here at the actual price charts. We use candlesticks. You can Google candlesticks. Really, it's simple, but yeah, I'm not going to get into how you necessarily read a candle chart. So this is the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract. So this one trades throughout the day and throughout the night, and so we can get overnight price action that we can look at here. And actually, it is showing tomorrow's candle already. It's just a little body of a candle. And then you can see today's candle had a little body in the middle, which means the price opened higher, closed lower. That's why it's solid, because it opened higher and closed lower. And then it went all the way down here, and it went all the way up there at some point during the day. And it landed at the close, which, because it's a solid candle, means that it closed at the bottom. That's why that horizontal line, that the bottom of the actual body is the closing price. So yeah, that's all there is to it. So that's how that works, and we've got target dots to the upside on the daily chart. So my money is still on the upside here. Not to mention the real thing is the true momentum, the true Momo chart, which is our chart. We take true momentum and combine it with a few other things, and it is in a squeeze. This is what a squeeze looks like, which is why price, generally speaking, has been going back and forth for a week or so, and it we typically are going to squeeze and break out in the direction of the true Momo indicator. And the weekly over here on the left hand side, the last indication we had was a buy signal as well, an arrow up, and we also are in a squeeze there. So this could be a really big move to the upside if it breaks out. Well, in either direction, when it breaks out, it's going to be a big move. So we shall see. And really what we're going to do is defend ourselves if it goes against us by just getting out of long positions when they make sense, and maybe even getting short when it gets time to do that. So, all right, so that's the ES. The YM is the Dow, and it's, actually I mentioned this the other day. The Dow got a buy signal. We are on a sell signal on the weekly, but we're in a squeeze on both time frames. That's interesting. The EES, yeah, they got the buy signal yesterday, I think. The Russell, which I don't always go through, but it's small cap stocks, it got a buy signal. Actually, it's getting one for tomorrow if this was to hold up, and it's got a sell signal on the weekly. The thing about small caps is they're the hardest stocks to move because they don't have a lot of volume, and there is a wedge pattern going on here, I think, pretty clearly. And so that's a falling megaphone or falling wedge pattern, which tend to break to the upside. And I think we could draw a line from here to here, and that would contain all the price of this most when it really took off to the downside. And if it breaks that to the upside, then we got price dots going on, we got all sorts of things, or I should say target dots. But generally speaking, these megaphone patterns tend to break to the upside, and all descending channels eventually break to the upside. So there you go. And then the NASDAQ is probably pretty interesting. It's already broken out to the upside. It came up here back a month or so ago, and then pulled back pretty hard, and then came up and took out and it closed higher than it closed before back in February. So yeah, there's a couple things. There's a lot to be gleaned from that, but we're on a buy signal on the true Momo indicator. We are getting some downward pressure as far as momentum goes going into tomorrow, actually. Like this thing's getting slowed down up here at this level. And on the weekly, everything, basically the sky's the limit. It's cleared on the way up. So there's also something to be gleaned from the Harvard line study that we've got here. The price, it's going to close above the golden Harvard line, and on a long-term basis, the actual sell signal would be if it closes back below the light blue Harvard line. So something to note from that is back here on the S&P 500, the Harvard line, it did not close above the gold line last month, and it's not going to close above the gold line this month, so that's interesting. The Russell, I think, is the one. I'm wrong. Actually, the Russell is the one that it closed above the gold line already for a month, and it's come under. And man, I don't think it can get back up above the light blue line before the end of the month because we've only got a few days left here. But then it's the Dow, I think, that actually looks really interesting because it closed above the gold line and it's not going to close below the light blue line. So the Dow looks like it's holding a long-term pattern, which is, we'll see how it plays out. It could close below the light blue line, and then I actually think we've got bigger problems if that's the case. So we'll see what happens. So that was something to show you guys that I've probably never shown before. And the transports went up today, and they're kicking in a little bit of green, but they don't have an official buy signal yet, although they are bullish on the weekly time frame. And oil, we'll look at the USO contract itself. So that was bullish 2 days in a row. We're hitting some short-term resistance lines. These are standard deviation lines that I've got drawn here, and an indicator that we made. Next week's one standard deviation is going to be up to here, depending on how the week shakes out, and that's interesting. So we're going to monitor that. I'm still long USO for now, but it does have target dots, and I wouldn't expect it to get much past the first target dot on this before it pulls back. So I'm really only looking for maybe a short-term profit off this thing. And oil, it's up overnight by 0.72% on the futures contract, which hopefully it'll cooperate here. There we go. It's just really hanging on to that line. And that's probably it. Let's look at bonds because I haven't done that in a bit. Bonds are looking to pull back. They have pulled back. And sure looks bearish on both time frames. So I wouldn't want to be long bonds right now. All right. And then the last thing is our automatic trading systems. And we've been doing this. This is boring stuff. I do it every night just to make sure my systems look like they're supposed to. This has been negative and bad here. Lower highs, and we do have hopefully a low here that's going to hold, but on the long term, so this is a quarterly contract, and on the long term, you know, kind of hoping this level holds, if not for sure that one. You know, generally speaking, what we want is this is our equity. So as these things trade, our equity gets changed, and you have wins and losses. You add them all up, and this is what it looks like. So this is on a 6-month time frame. So the other one was quarterly, and that's really what this looks like. And before that, and the latest quarter, January, February, March, just got started really. So I don't even know when we flipped it, on the 15th of last month, I believe, for the next quarter. Not sure what it's doing. All right, there we go to the, that was weird. This is the NASDAQ, the NQ, and you know, it's actually done pretty well this quarter. This is the quarterly contract. This is the 6-month contract of it, and this is my favorite of all the systems that we have because it's got the nicest upflowing equity curve on the long-term basis. It still has some pretty serious pullbacks that come down here and here. I mean, this one lasted, I think, a month. So, and if you guys were listening to me at that point, I was complaining then too. Not really complaining, just saying, pointing it out. This kind of price action there was hard to take. Then the Dow, and it's been pretty volatile on our equity. It's, you know, we're okay. It's just kind of want to get up and going and get some new equity peaks going on. That's what the green dots are. So with that, I'll leave you guys for tonight. Hopefully that was helpful. Take care, good trading, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.